I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
And this is your second time on Frannkie Say.
Yep.
Kate Daniels, very happy to have. Oh, are we good to go, producer? I didn't even do the sound check. He doesn't do the sound checks anymore. He just gives he's got thumbs up and all that stuff. But thank you so much for coming on, Kate Daniels.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm happy to be here.
So the Adams County Democratic Committee, help me through this. Walk me through it.
Okay.
I was driving by. There's a new location. I feel like it was on 5th and Main for a while.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then it moved to State Street.
Yeah, well, okay, so we don't have a lot of activity in between elections, which is a relief. We don't always have to be, in an office and, doing whatever we do normally during elections. So what we've ended up doing, we did keep that one for a long time on 5th and Main. But when the Harts moved out of there, they basically let us use their internet and all that other kind of stuff, and we weren't using it. So we finished out our lease, and then we closed up. And then when this election came about, we're like, well, we should have, at least for 2 or 3 months, we should have some place where people can come in. We can store our signs that's accessible because we have a storage unit. And so that's what we did. So we saw that space was open. It used to have the engraved hive there, and they moved out. And so then I saw it was open, and I made a deal. I said, hey, look, we only need it for 3 months, and it's empty right now. And they were like, yeah, that'd be fine. So we took that up, and it's been great. It's a great space. Very nice space.
I like that space. I drive by it all the time.
Yeah.
Because I work 2 or 3 blocks from there.
Yeah. Walter Lewis, right?
Yeah, Walter Lewis, yeah.
Yes.
Which,
we're your customers.
You are?
Yeah.
You are? How so?
We buy chlorine from you for our pool.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
My
Where?
husband does it himself. I don't know why he does it himself, but
Really?
he likes to do it himself. Yeah.
Oh, are we giving you a good price?
Sure. I don't know. I don't pay any attention.
No, you know what? I'm going to talk to somebody.
Those 5-gallon ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that those are expensive. The containers.
They are expensive.
Right. So we bring those back and we get them filled up, and then
That's the economical way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Note to self: give Kate Daniels 20%
Great
discount on chlorine. Well, okay.
Yeah.
So in the kind of before this pod started, we were talking about fact checking during podcasts or conversations, and we're making jokes that Aspen Gengenbacher, we need to pay her $1 million to start fact checking us during these podcasts.
Sure.
If anybody wants to sponsor that, go for it. That would be amazing. So I was talking about the most well-known podcasts in the world. Have you ever heard of Joe Rogan?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you think he's a good guy, bad guy, meathead, idiot?
A little bit of everything.
Ouch.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay. Now I haven't watched all. I've seen snippets here and there, and sometimes some of the stuff he says, I'm like, really, where'd that come from?
Yeah.
But sometimes I listen to what he says, and I understand where a certain set of people would agree with that or believe that. I don't remember ever agreeing with him, but that doesn't mean he's not a good guy or he's not.
He's a comedian.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
No, that's his job.
That's his gig. Okay.
So
that's a podcast. Does he do jokes on the podcast or just conversation? Right.
All he's doing. So what he's trying to do, he's trying to sit on his couch with his friends and have a lot of fun and just talk to his friends.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is people like Spotify, entities like Spotify, keep on throwing him $100 million to go into a studio in Austin, Texas.
What a problem that
Yeah.
is.
No, he's been doing it for 13 years. The first 6-7 years that he did it, he made no money. And nobody really knew, it wasn't a very popular thing, but now it's a very big deal.
Right.
But my point was, there's a friend of mine bought me a coffee mug that said, Jamie, pull that up. Mm-hmm. And what that is in reference to is the Joe Rogan podcast, where he's got there's only 3 people that work at Joe Rogan.
Okay.
Joe Rogan and 2 of his good friends. Mm-hmm. That's it. He doesn't have this big, huge, production area. Because podcasts don't necessarily need that. But you and I were joking about how, if every single time that I'm talking, if Aspen's in charge, she's blowing the air horn because I'm wrong. And whenever you're talking, Aspen never blows the air horn. That's probably what's going to happen. So let's get a sponsor for Frannkie Say for when Kate comes on, and we'll do fact checking, and then that'll make me look really bad. Okay. You ready to talk about the election?
Sure.
This is the last Frankie Say podcast before the election. I think next week we're going to have on the president of QCT, the Quincy Community Theater, David Samuels.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Super good guy.
Yeah, he's very
such
nice
a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's also the kind of guy that pulls me, has a real, like, you have a really nice gravitational pull where you're kind of pulling me into rationality and logic. You're keeping me centered.
Okay.
So, no, I'm serious.
Okay.
No, and then also, you're not like some kind of like, I'm not a right-wing crazy and you're not a left-wing crazy.
Oh, I could be if you wanted me to.
Can you? Yeah, just be yourself. Be yourself. No.
Oh, no, I mean, I could parrot that. I don't, anyway.
Is it good for the branding, Quincy? Do you feel like you have to really be careful what you say because you're representing Adams County Democrats? Do you feel like you have to water things down, or do you think you can really give it what you truly think?
I mean, I think when you're a representative, you have to take into consideration that, you're not only speaking for yourself. So when I am representing Adams County Democratic Party, I'm not only speaking for myself. And so I think I know most of the people, but I don't know all the Democrats in Adams County, and there might be people who disagree. There are many people who disagree with me quite often. So I try to do the best that I can to only go so far as I think the party will let me go when I'm representing the Adams County Democratic Party.
That's fair. So this is the last podcast that I'm doing before the election, and you were very nice enough to come on to do this. You're the perfect person to do this, and I feel very honored that you would do this. And the next week when David Samuels comes on, him and I are gonna try to clean up the mess. And I don't know if that's possible. Hopefully we have a president.
Yeah, I don't think we'll know by Wednesday, actually.
You don't think so? Yeah, I think you're right.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
right.
I am of two minds. So I've been reading a lot. I mean, I hate to read too much about it because after a while you kind of get like, oh, this is just, there's really no answers and it's too mushy. But, I did tell you that I was listening to you and John McCoy that was
Jason McCoy.
Okay, that was on before. And you guys were talking a little bit about, I don't know what you were broaching, but it kind of was like, seemed like the polls should go one way, and that was kind of, that's what I got from the conversation, although I'm not really sure that's exactly what you said. But in any case, I've been looking at different polls. I've been looking at, how do they come up with the polls, and then they weight them, and they do all this other stuff. So these polls get so manipulated by the time, they get to us, and we look at them as something on, either on the New York Times or the Post, or I don't know where else people look at them. I try to look at all different kinds of polls. But one of the things that I keep looking at is these are likely voters. And then I try to dig into what is your definition of a likely voter? Because that's going to depend upon who you talk to. And so you look at a likely voter, and it's somebody who's been registered already, right? And that they've voted 4 or 5 different times, right?
Yes.
So, and then but I run lists every single day. It's only for Democrats, so I run the Democrat list, and there are people that we aimed to contact by postcards, and they were people who hadn't voted 0 times out of the last 3 elections, 3 federal elections. So we skipped the 2020 because people always get excited about the presidential election. Or no, we didn't. We did the 2020. Well, in any case, we looked, and those are the people that we focused on to try to get them out to vote. But those are not the people that are going to be on the polls, right? Yeah. So out of that, we had like 1,300 people that we tried to contact. And when I ran the list today, 200 of them have early voted. So, I mean, it would be nice if it were higher. And so we're trying to push those people out. But those are not going to be the likely voters that are going to be in the polls. So if we can make that difference and move those people into voting, that's what I really love to see.
The list of 1,300 people, are those registered Democrats on the list?
We don't have registered Democrats. See, in Illinois, people say, oh, I'm a registered Democrat. And I'm like, no, you're not. Because you don't register as a Democrat. Nobody is, there's no real registration or definition of a Democrat. But it's a database that we have, and we look and see, when you voted, if you've pulled a Democratic ballot or a Republican ballot, And then there's some other information in there as well, and we guess.
Have you conducted a poll recently internally?
We don't do polling.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think it's too complicated. I don't know how you would do that.
Well, right. So there's all of the.
I did think about it though today. I was like going, oh, I wonder if we could do that.
Interesting.
But, yeah.
And then, somebody who you probably need to have somebody on your team, and you may be this person who is really understands statistics and proper scientific method. Well, so for example,
that would not be me. I know when it's wrong, but I don't always know how to do it.
Well, I'll
right,
tell you,
right?
when Muddy River put out that abortion poll, there were people in the comment thread saying, "This isn't scientific.
Right.
Where's your random distribution? Right. And I, by the way, I do not know the results of the poll. I don't know if the results are going to be released anytime soon.
I talked to a number of people. We were gonna advertise that poll. We were gonna say, put this information, go, blah blah blah. And what I understood from people who told me about statistics and surveys a little bit more was that you have to have a random sample, not people who volunteer to do it, and so that's part of it. But I don't know that much about surveys or polls, and I think that was the issue, is that in order, you have to have a random sample. And so this was not a scientific poll, is what they were telling me. So we hemmed and hawed a little bit, and then I was like, I'm not good. If people, if they see it, they will. But we didn't send it out to our people. We didn't tell them to, vote in it. We just were like, okay, if people find it, they find it. There was discussion on the Facebook page and other places, so people knew about it. So
I did like the poll. We
kind of left it up.
I thought it was very interesting. Mm-hmm. I want to see Muddy River do more those kinds of polls, because it gets interaction and it gets people talking, gets the community talking about important issues.
And I'll tell you though, I think it's great if that's what you're doing. If you're just basically saying, hey, we just want discussion, and this is not a scientific poll, we're just doing, this is discussion. And I think it's fine if that's what you're saying. If you're not, pretending to be something you're not. And I think those discussions are great to have. So my thing was when I read through the poll, I was like, I'm not going to answer that, because it didn't have any of the answers that I wanted to put on there. Mm-hmm. So, it was like, in all circumstances and none, and, I don't remember what the wording was, but I was like, but how about we just trust women to make decisions about their own bodies? How about if we trust them to do that?
Oh, you should get 100% agreement with that. You got 100% agreement with me that women should trust their own bodies. Can we talk about
decisions about their own bodies?
Make their decisions about their own bodies? Yeah, right. Men and women should.
Mm-hmm.
Just like in the selective service, when men at 18, they're forced to register. If they don't want to go in the draft and they don't want to register for the selective draft, they shouldn't be able to. My body, my choice.
Yeah,
my body, my choice. I mean, I'm only saying
that's not.
It's not the same.
Not the same.
It's not the same.
Really the same.
Getting dragged into war and getting shot at and hand grenades thrown at you is not the same.
But also that hasn't happened for 50 years. It hasn't happened since 1975, right?
It's going to happen.
That's 50 years.
It's going to happen.
I don't know. Well, but it could, and quite frankly, that is a big issue. It is a big issue, whether or not people get drafted and who doesn't. I mean, the only reason draft came into play was it was always the poor kids that went into war, because that was always the way it was.
Or men who briefly just take a semester off from SIU college to help their father, Ben Franklin, because their Ben Franklin's getting ripped into in East St. Louis. That's what happened to my dad. Wasn't a poor kid. He just took a semester off from college. Government goes, oh, boom, you're gonna.
Then he got drafted.
Got the Agent Orange poured on him and died when I was 10. It was awesome. So, hey, can we talk about we're talking about polls. Please tell me, can you give me an update from what you think about where the current polling is for the upcoming election? Because I think I know what I have seen, but I don't want to be biased. I think everybody's biased. I've never met a human that isn't. Right. But I'm going to set that aside and kind of ask
our
you.
Own experiences.
Yeah.
So polls, the polls have them even, right? Is that what you're talking about? I mean, I'm not really sure what you mean. Yeah, the polls have them even, but I don't think that these polls are accurate at all.
I don't think so either.
And I think that because there's been and then there's all anecdotal stuff. So, voting down there has been crazy. So they have, when I talked to Ryan, I met with him a few weeks ago, and by then there was 10% of the people.
Ryan Niekamp?
10% had already voted. So there's about 4,500 people who had already voted. And that was 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. I'm not even sure. 2 weeks ago.
I agree with you.
And so
I agree with you about these polls. I don't trust those polls.
I
didn't trust the polls. I did trust the polls in 2016, and then it turns out the polls were wrong.
Yeah, they were wrong.
Way wrong.
Yeah.
And then the polls were more accurate, supposedly, in 2020 compared to 2016.
And were they right? I don't remember what the polls were. I mean, I know who won. I didn't know what the polls were.
I think the polls were showing Biden.
In 2020?
I think so. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
And see, this is when Aspen goes, wrong, Frank. No, I'm pretty sure. So,
right, but I don't know. I mean, I think it was close. And I think you're right if I remember, but I don't really remember what the polls were. I think I've been so disappointed with polling. And I was reading today because I thought maybe we might talk about that. And I was reading about polling, and they were talking about how they've changed and this weighting part of it. And then I was just like going, oh, I'm just done. I don't want to get into it too much.
Yeah.
And I know there are some other websites that talk about, this thing that I was talking to you about likely voters, and that polls only really look at likely voters. But if you're not looking at, what's going on with people who have just registering and just voting, then you're missing a huge, and that's enough to make any kind of a error here, right? So, and we're seeing something different. I guess Republicans are starting to vote earlier, and they're being encouraged to vote earlier.
Wild.
But then someone says, oh, well, but they were going to vote anyway. So those were likely voters, Republicans, that were going to vote anyway. So we shouldn't read anything into that, But then I've also heard, there's been a lot of activity for registering new voters. From Democrats in a lot of areas in Texas, for example. Beto O'Rourke did a huge voter registration, and they've been working really, really hard to make a difference in that Senate election. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
I also heard that. I heard that Texas was registering a ton of Democrats. I know that.
Yeah, the last day of registration in Dallas County, there was at 7:30 in the morning. There was a line. They had a line of cars because somebody comes out and they register right there in their car. There was a line of cars that didn't close until 10 p.m. that night, and there were people constantly coming through, new voters that are not going to be in the polls.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then in North Carolina, there's like this swath of massive Republican registrations coming out of North Carolina, which is.
Well, do they register as Republicans or Democrats?
I believe so. Well, let's put it this way.
I don't know, yeah.
Let's put it this way. They're either registering one way or another, or in some type of. It goes back to polls. People asking. This is why it's so.
Yeah.
I really don't want to get into the science of the statistics about how these things are done. Although I do.
I can't because I don't know what.
Well, I think you know more about
yeah.
that than I do, so I kind of plead the fifth on it. But what I read this morning actually was that in North Carolina, there's an unbelievable number of Republicans registering for who had registered and who are voting. So registered beforehand and voting now. And then I guess in exit polls, when someone says, hey, do you care to tell me who you voted for? I guess that sounds like very infringy and very invading of personal space.
Yeah, you can ask.
But you can ask,
you
right?
You can ask, you say no,
So let's throw out the polls for a second. Do you know what Vegas is saying? And I put a lot of stock.
No, I don't know.
I'll tell you right now. I'll tell you right now. I put a lot of stock in Vegas money lines because when people actually put money down, that's a lot different than cold calling and polling.
Right.
And even like a really good scientific poll where you feel very comfortable that it's a good poll and you feel confident in the results, I still don't. Because think about it. Like if I'm talking about Rasmussen and you're talking about Quinnipiac, those are two different polls. I mean, Rasmussen is going to go one way and Quinnipiac is going to go the other way. In my opinion, I don't think they're so divergent. But I think the Vegas money lines, like I'm kind of a sports guy, meaning I just like sports. I don't know as much as, some people in town, but yeah, I'm no Matt Schuckman. But I'll tell you, the money line of Vegas switched big time over the past 2 or 3 months. It swung heavily red. And there's all of these other markets, like have you heard of Poly Market?
I would be very surprised of that, but no.
Of the swing?
At the swing, yeah.
Okay.
I'm very surprised.
So are you surprised that things swing, or are you just saying that you're surprised that it would swing one way or another now.
Yeah, because I think all of the energy has been behind the Democrats. That's what I've seen
Recently.
That there's, since July, I mean, it was amazing.
Since the coup?
He dropped out. We put somebody else in.
He dropped out.
Yeah.
Oh, he didn't really drop out. He was shoved out of a moving train car.
Well, I don't think so. I don't
No?
think so. I don't think he necessarily wanted to go necessarily. I don't know, but I think people said, "Look, we've got, you've got. I know you want to do what you want to do, but this is not necessarily good for the whole, whole Democratic ticket." And I think he did this for the country. He did it for the Democratic Party, so that we have somebody that people had confidence in.
Do you think he's running the country right now?
I do.
Do you think he's making the big decisions?
I think he is, yeah.
Really?
And I think he's doing a great job.
What is he doing right now that's so good?
Exactly. I'm not sure, frankly. But I think he's been doing a good job. He has been.
No, I'm saying since July, since I really think the Dems, and I'm not gonna use the term deep state, okay? I'm gonna say listen, I believe
the bureaucracy.
I believe
the stuff that keeps the rudders on the side that keeps us from falling over
I believe the
tumbling
rudders
into a.
I believe the rudders on the ship is the deep state. I believe the stabilizing force inside the United States. I believe if you put all of the people together as a whole, from all the three-letter agencies, all the way to the president and the cabinet and all the power players behind the scenes, all of that bureaucracy and all of those unelected people that we don't even know their names half the time, and all those power players that go and whisper, which that happens. That happens for sure.
No,
all those things. You don't think?
No.
You don't think that there are politically influential people that give their opinion to the president, that we don't know who they are? Yeah, all of those people.
He has all kinds of advisors, all kinds of people give him opinions, but the person who, I hate to say pull the trigger, but the person who makes the decision is him.
I like your gun references, but
and Kamala Harris is also, I mean, she's not in charge, he's in charge. But I think he's been respectful to her in a way that many people are not, listening to her. And, sometimes she has input or not, but she may disagree with him, but a good vice president is not out there, screaming their disagreements. And I don't know, because that's their personal relationship. He probably had disagreements with President Obama as well. But, you go to the people that you have brought in to give you some advice. I mean, I do that all the time when I, want to make a decision. I ask people, I talk around, but that in the end, sometimes it's me. I'm the one that has to make the decision, right? So you need to have these people that have experience and knowledge and know things better than you do. And I think that makes a lot of sense. So this deep state or bureaucracy or whatever people end up hating, these are the people who work day to day, who care about our country and who support us. I mean, we have it down in the clerk's office. Ryan Niekamp isn't running that thing. And when he started, he didn't know what he was doing necessarily. He had some really good deep state people there that were helping him out. And, he's done a marvelous job. He's done a really good job, right?
It sounds like when you say that he had deep state people helping him.
I'm doing that in air quotes because I think it's a ridiculous. I'm sorry.
No, well, so the thing is, like, if I would say administrative state, or if I would say the oligarchy, or if I would say the people that we don't know who are unelected, who give the president, sit him in a room when his chief of staff say, President Biden, you've got a meeting tomorrow at 3 p.m. with such and such.
Yeah.
And that name of that person, I don't know the name of that person. You don't know the name of the person. I'm saying those people come in there, they got massive influence. And you take the complete collective of, I think we both agree that it takes a village to run the country.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that there's good things and bad things. I mean, we didn't get to superpower status by accident. So the American experiment seems to be working as well as it can be, even with the hiccups. Mm-hmm. But I think if I use a pejorative such as the deep state, that's laughable to you. But what I'm saying is, no, I think that sometime after Eisenhower And with the formation of a lot of the three-letter agencies, I think they get bigger and bigger and more powerful and more powerful. And I think that they overrun, quite frankly, a lot of the executive branch. And I think that presidents have been killed. And I think that presidents have warned us about it. And I think that even when Trump got in office, when he sat down, I mean, he's such a wild card. I think that he probably said something like, hey, show me Area 51. And they're like, slow down, buckaroo. Like, we're going to
slow your roll, dude.
Slow your roll. It's just like, when Putin was in an interview recently, and Putin said, this is a world leader that talks to lots of presidents. And he told a reporter, listen, this is what happens. You think you're going to run in there and run this country? This is what happens. You get in there. And they don't do the Men in Black thing where they zap your memory, but there's a lot of control. So
Putin doesn't? Are you sure?
Putin what?
Putin doesn't zap people's memories.
Oh, he probably does.
I'm sure he does.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. Like,
he killed his one, his one opposition.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's a murderer, just like.
He was CIA, right? Or not CIA. What is it called?
KGB.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Aspen's like, no, listen. Yeah. Putin kills people. U.S. presidents kill people. Right. All the world leaders are murderers.
Right. But let's go back, because I do want to ask you,
please,
a question.
Okay.
What do you think oligarchy means? Because I don't think it means what you think it means.
I'm using oligarchy in the way. Well, so, okay, oligarchy, I'll just answer it. Since I'm not a politician, I can just answer questions directly. Are you ready for my direct answer?
Sure.
So, I come from a middle-class family. And my neighbors had lawns that they watered. And word salad. That's what oligarchy is.
What?
I come from a middle-class family, okay? Okay. So, listen, do you know what...
Oh, you're saying that Kamala Harris is oligarchy?
No, I'm saying that Kamala Harris doesn't know how to directly answer a question. But,
all right.
but listen...
Because she has too many phrases. This is called English, where you're not speaking at a fourth grade level. I mean, she's speaking, there's I forget what they're called because I'm not that great in English myself, but nesting phrases and other things. Yeah. And sometimes you're right. Sometimes Democrats do not speak in, direct and clear language because it's too much. Like, all right, so some people were joking around about calling, Donald Trump a felon. And they go, well, that's not really very nice to say because there are some felons who have reformed their lives and done whatever and blah, blah. And I said, well, I'll just continue to say he is a felon because he is a felon and because he is not reformed in any way, shape, or form because he doesn't care to admit that he did what he did and he's still facing sentencing on 34 counts. So, and he's got other cases coming up. So, we do sometimes soft pedal things when we should not soft pedal things. But oligarchy, to me, because I wanted to ask you, because sort of like that Princess Bride thing, every time you say it, I go, I don't think it's what you think it means.
I love that. I love that.
My understanding of oligarchy, and I was going to look it up before I got here, but I forgot to do that. My understanding of an oligarchy is it's the businesses. And it's not have anything to do with government. It has everything to do with businesses being outside of government and contrning
businesses?
And using. Yes.
What do you mean by businesses?
I mean, like Elon Musk's businesses. So Elon Musk owns satellites and all this other.
That is not what oligarchy means.
Well, we should check that out.
Well, hold on. I'll make it really easy. What you're describing is called corporatism. Okay, when actual businesses are running a country. Oligarchy is ruled by a group. So monarchy is ruled by a king and queen and directly in the feudal system with dukes and duchesses and lords. You've got dictatorship, which is ruled generally by one person. You've got democracy, which was more of the Hellenic way of how the Greeks ran their system way back when. America is not a direct democracy. It's a constitutional republic. It's an indirect democracy through republicanism. An oligarchy is rule of a group. There are a group of people that rule over. What you're describing is is corporatism. And
Oh, see, I thought we had an understanding. I thought you and I were going to agree on something
No,
because
no.
I disagree with corporatism, if that's what we're
oh,
calling
I
it.
do not
Yeah.
like corporatism.
Yeah.
And corporatism, corporatism, and we can talk about this about why Elon Musk is now in the fray, because according to, so we're going to agree on a lot.
There's a deal between the two of them.
Well,
See-
absolutely.
yeah.
He's
See
the
whatever
Department
agreement, yeah.
of Government Efficiency. He's going to go in there and Doge it, baby. He's the Dogecoin, the meme coin daddy.
Yeah.
But no, oligarchy is rule of a group. And that is how I think the United States is currently being run. I think if you want to talk about the idea in capitalism, when you're talking about a very unfair and kind of to be honest with you, a pretty crappy way of running capitalism.
Crony capitalism.
Is crony capitalism.
Yeah.
Where crony capitalism is you've got, which is called cronyism, and cronyism generally is a substrate of bad forms of capitalism, but happens kind of organically inside a capitalistic state, where you've got the corporate interests are pushing down in the form of corporatism, in this case, onto the oligarchy. So you've got the oligarchy, the corporations are definitely in control. Definitely. Like the Elon Musks, definitely in control. You've got, but I think that the upper level oligarchy is pushing down. I don't think the oligarchy, the people who are in control, I do not think they like Elon Musk. I do not think they do. For example, I don't think Kamala likes Elon. I don't think Biden does. I don't think you do. I don't think the Democratic machine likes Elon Musk at all. So Elon Musk is the answer. He's fighting fire with fire. So I have no idea. For all I know, in 2 or 3 years, for all I know, Elon Musk could be the false prophet or the beast. I have no idea. I'm using revelations here as I'm making. Elon Musk could turn out to be a terrible person.
Could?
He isn't yet.
Oh, I think he is.
Not yet.
Yeah. I think we do agree on some things. I don't think that it's, you're just mentioning Democrats as they're all in control. If we were all in control, Trump would have never been president at all if we were at all in control.
Here's something we agree with. Mitch McConnell.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a Mitch McConnell fan. You?
No.
Okay, boom. There's an agreement. I think Mitch McConnell is part of the machine. I think he wants to keep the machine going. Do you think Lindsey Graham's a good person?
No.
Horrible.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. There's two people. By the way, you can.
But that's because, I disagree with them because of what they did to the Supreme Court and how they really manipulated that situation. President Obama should have been able to appoint the person that he wanted to appoint, and they wouldn't even hear it. But then Trump is leaving office, and all of a sudden, oh yeah, we got to get this through right away. So, they really, made up a rule, and basically took control and did what they wanted to do, which was put specific people on the Supreme Court.
Yeah, Lindsey Graham is super good at politics, and you've got Republicans and Democrats. The ones that are the best at politics, those are generally some of the worst people because they're using politics to their advantage. All of the most powerful and influential Democrats, and I'll throw Republicans in there too. I'm very proud of being not a very good Republican, or maybe not even a Republican at all, because I don't want to. It's kind of like this. Did you see the Bears game on Sunday?
No, I didn't.
Did you hear what happened?
No.
It's like this. I was a Bears fan.
I heard what happened to the Vikings, though. They got that face mask didn't get called. Anyways.
Yeah. Vikings were way better than the Bears. But historically, I was a Bears fan. Historically, I've been more Republican. I'm not really a Bears fan anymore. Something really bad happened to the Bears with 1 second left to go in the game. Mm-hmm. They should have won the game. They were winning the game. With 1 second left. They lost the game. I had a friend of mine that texted me. He said, "I'm going to throw up." I told him, here's how far I've fallen. Here's how far I've fallen away from being a Bears fan is I laughed. Because I'm not a Bears fan anymore. Because forget it. I'm over it. I don't want to do it. Well, it's just, listen.
A lot of money. Yeah.
No. Football is, we don't need to talk about sports. The point is, every single thing is when we're talking about the Supreme Court or football, some people really care about sports. Some people really care about the Supreme Court. Some people are single issue voters. Some people don't care about what's going on. They're totally okay with an open border as long as they can get abortions. People care about what they care about. Listen,
I don't know anybody. Okay, I know a very minute, tiny, eensy-weeny fraction that is for open borders. I don't know anybody.
Well, I will tell you.
Well, personally.
The general consensus in the country is the person who is currently, I'm going to stop jumping around like these, this shadowy language I'm using. Kamala is the current vice president. You know how people call her the border czar? I'm not going to call her that.
Because she never was.
That's why I'm not going to call her that.
Yeah, because she didn't have the power to do what she needed to do.
But she's running for president, and when she's talking about the border, somebody said, "Have you been to the border?" And she goes, "No, but I haven't been to Europe." That was her answer. So this is why this is why she's down.
Why do you have to go to the border to know what the issue is? You don't have to go to every single place to know what issues are. Look, what she tried to do and what she was given.
Why you
are rolling your eyes.
Why? That is such an incredible thing to say. I will tell you, if you're running for president and you want to talk strongly about a subject in which you
if she
haven't
said that, I did
there,
not see that. But if she said that was probably a little bit flip, and I'm wondering who it was she was talking to, and I'm wondering, what was the context of it.
I think it was 60 Minutes.
But let's talk about. Well, I didn't see that actually. I really didn't see it. But let's talk about the border bill that was negotiated by the Biden administration, and that Republicans stuck their neck out to get that border bill to give everything that Republicans wanted and been begging for however long. And let's talk about that, because that bill was quashed by Trump because he wanted a political issue. That's crap. So in the meantime, what ended up
clean?
Huh?
Was the bill clean?
I don't know.
I'll tell you if it was.
I don't know.
It wasn't. It was dirty.
It always is. They always are.
Well, don't sign dirty bills.
Well, then you would have no legislation.
Well,
you wouldn't have an infrastructure bill. You wouldn't have anything.
No legislation is better. No legislation
is not true.
Better.
No.
Is better.
No.
We can't even figure out. We don't even know what the tax code is. The tax code changes every 2 seconds.
To protect rich people.
Stalemate, lame duck sessions, and no legislation is always better than omnibus bills that nobody reads and nobody knows what's in them. I will tell you, by the way, this is the difference between Democrats and Republicans in this election. And I won't even say Democrats and Republicans. This is about people who like the machine and want to see the 2,500 page omnibus bills that nobody reads. There's a faction of people who are okay with those bills and people who don't want any of those bills to pass. The bill that you're talking about, with respect.
But that's not what Trump was upset about. And that's not what he did. What he did was he said, I want a political issue for this campaign. I'm going to hammer them on this issue. So do not sign that bill. And people, it was going to pass. It would have been fine. But he steps in there and he says, I don't want that. So
those Republicans.
But now he can come up and say, oh, we don't have a bill, Well, of course we don't have a bill, because you quashed it because you wanted a political issue. I think that's crap. And I don't know. You tell me. Look, I think that we need to have that bill. There have been certain things that have been done by executive order that have stopped or stemmed the flow significantly since July. I didn't look at the August and September numbers, but it's been stemmed significantly. And that's been a border issue. This issue has been going back way till the 80s. We've had. President Reagan said, hey, let's just amnesty everybody.
I agree.
And he wiped the slate clean, and then, boom. So we've had these issues for a long time.
That's another thing that we agree on.
So I think I think it was crap. I don't know what was in everything that was in the bill.
No,
did I read it? I didn't read the whole thing.
And that's why you can't pass it.
You can't say not everybody.
Listen, you and I don't.
Bipartisan infrastructure bill that has been doing wonderful things around this country. You can't freeze the country because you don't like some things, because you're not the only person in this country. I'm not the only person. It's not just certain people. We have tons of people in this country, and we're not all going to agree. So you might have to pass a bill that you don't like.
But what I'm saying is you shouldn't advocate for passing bills if you don't know what's in them.
Well, sure, why not?
That's what I'm saying.
And but I'm not saying that people didn't know what was in that bill. People know what's in those bills.
No, they don't. As a matter of fact,
well, if they don't do the work, they don't.
Pelosi is famous for saying you got to pass the bill so we can figure out what's in it.
Well, okay,
she's famous
she
for
said
it.
that once. It was a joke.
It's not a joke.
Yes, it's a joke.
It was a slip of the tongue. It was a Freudian slip of the tongue.
It was a joke.
So check. It's like this. Like that bill that she was talking about was the ACA. It was the Affordable Care Act,
right?
Otherwise known as Obamacare. And that bill was designed. It had a lot of stuff in it, right? But one of the big hallmark features of that bill was to reduce the average American's premium by $2,500. Okay. It did the opposite of that because, do you know why?
I don't think it did. I don't think it did.
100%.
There are tons of people that are on that bill, that are on ACA.
No, I'm telling you, like I factually, and I'm totally okay with Aspen Gengenbach hearing this. That bill, but no, she's a local celebrity. Okay, she's very much beloved. Okay,
yes.
Yeah, there are like multiple like super powerful women that work for Muddy River, and she's one of them. So there's the ACA drove up costs. As a matter of fact, for small businesses, it drove up costs annually since 2009 or 2010 when Obamacare.
Were they participating in ACA?
Everybody participates in the ACA. Everybody. You don't have a choice. I participate in the ACA.
I don't have any.
Do you have insurance?
Yeah.
Do you have Medicare?
No.
That was a terrible thing for me to ask you. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I don't care.
No, you should smack me.
As if you care. I don't care how old I am.
You look great. So no, everybody participates in the ACA. You don't have a choice. Like, well, now whether or not
everybody participates in the insurance system. You don't have. Everybody participates in this healthcare system. You don't have a choice.
Correct.
And this healthcare system kind of sucks.
Does suck.
Actually, not the healthcare system, the insurance system, and the insurance system has damaged the healthcare system.
Well, we have the greatest healthcare potentiality in this country, but we have the worst. We pay
way too much for it.
You're another thing that we agree on, but the actual healthcare system insurance, that what you're talking about, is terrible. So, for example, I got a call from my health insurance agent last week. My premium is going to go up 14%. I wish I could show you the table of how bad it is. If you own a small business in Quincy and you go to all of the very great insurance companies, from Freiburg to Winters, all of the great insurance companies in Quincy. All of those people do great work, and their hands are tied by the government, by the ACA, okay? And my health insurance premiums for our company have gone up 7%, 18%, 11%, 6%, 15% year over year over year.
Right.
We used to have, before the ACA, and this is a perfect example of.
I don't think this is the issue of the ACA.
Oh no!
And that's getting more people insured. And why wouldn't you want that?
The ACA gave enormous power to insurance companies because of corporatism, because of cronyism. What you're talking about.
Well, we shouldn't even have insurance. We should have single payer health care. Period.
Well, if it's run like the VA, then no.
Why not?
If you want to run it like the VA, then no.
The VA has done fairly well, from what I understand. A lot of people that I talk to really like their VA.
Oh, most
benefits.
people don't. It's horrible. It's horrible. If you want to run health insurance like you run the country, then no.
Well,
if you want to run the health, if you want to
32 out of 33 higher income countries can have single payer health care, and it's great. I mean, from what I understand, people talk about, oh, well, there's long waiting periods. Well, you go here, any place there's long waiting periods. I have insurance. I had to wait, I think it was 2 months to get an appointment with a neurologist or a neurosurgeon. You know, I had to wait 2 months. This isn't that, the system that we have is not that great.
Well, try Canada, where it's 2 years.
No, it's not 2 years.
It is. They come to America.
No, they don't.
They do.
Only if they have enough money. Only if they have money.
No, Canadians.
But I've heard.
I'm telling you, I've got
Every
in-laws.
Canadian I've ever talked to, and they say they think it's great.
Why
And
are the people that you're talking to paint you these rosy pictures of all these government programs, and all the people that I've talked to paint these
just don't like
these
it.
dystopian.
'Cause I want it now.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
What is your thoughts on? So, do you think? I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm going to ask you a question about Kamala, and then I'm going to ask you a question about Trump. Okay. I have my own opinions on this, but I want yours. Does Kamala lie?
No.
Okay. Does Trump lie?
Yep.
Okay. So I got to tell you something.
What?
What percentage of politicians lie?
I don't know.
No, listen,
I mean,
I don't expect you.
They're
No.
human beings. Everybody's, people will sometimes say things that, I don't know. It really irritates the heck out of me for people who lie. So tell me the truth. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you believe. Right? That's what I appreciate is honesty in people. Straightforward, right?
You know what?
But,
Okay.
when I take a look at, Trump is out there saying this and that. He says all kinds of stuff. He never follows through. He hedges everything. Like, do you know what his healthcare plan is?
No.
We don't know what it is because
don't.
I've got concepts of a plan. Why? So he can maneuver and do whatever he wants. He's not telling you beforehand. Why would you trust somebody who's not telling you beforehand what they're going to do? Now, sometimes, and you will find out because you famously quoted Putin on this, but I don't think it's wrong. When you get into a position of power, you don't have like omniscient power. You can't just say, do this, do that, do this, do that. You have to work with other people. And that's what happens in a democracy. And what happens in a large country, that you have to work with people and try to get agreement. That's what you have to do. So we've had in the last 4 years some of the most significant legislation. We're talking about, we were handed an economy that was devastated, right? So Trump did not handle that pandemic very well at all, and this economy was devastated. And he was pitting people against each other, they brought in plane loads of PPE in Illinois on the down low. Like, they were like sneaking it in because they were afraid that he was going to come in, because he had previously come in and taken PPE away from states and redirected it wherever he wanted to for his favoritism, for whoever he liked. So don't know how I got off on that path, but basically
we're talking about lying.
Yeah. And I don't know how I don't know how anybody can trust him and what he's doing, because he won't tell you beforehand. And there was a devastating economy, and that economy has been significantly fixed. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. We still have situations where we've got, it used to be these would go together, right? You know what I'm going to talk about? I'm going to talk about wage increases and productivity. They used to kind of go together. Why? Because we were paying the people who were actually producing things in our country based on their productivity. And as your productivity goes up, we're paying you. But this is what's happened, right? It's gone like this. Where is all this money going? It's not going to the people who are working. It's not going to people who are producing things.
Wait, you're saying wages
where is all that money going?
Wait, why are you saying that wages are going down?
They're not going down. They're going up.
Okay.
But productivity is going up significantly more, and wages are no longer following that. So that means the people who are producing. So you know that Anthony Oliver guy that had that song, Richmond, North of Richmond?
I know of it.
Remember that song?
Yeah, very popular.
Both sides kind of claim him, but if you listen to what he says, it's the truth. Where is all that money going that when we're promised your life is going to be more leisurely because we're going to have more productivity and you're going to have more free time and do whatever, and that's not what happens. What's happening is people have to work. Our teachers, I used to be an attorney here in town, and I used to represent a lot of people, divorces with violence and all this other stuff.
Yes.
A lot of those women had what they called a side gig. Not that it was necessarily making them a lot of money, but they were selling Lululemons or whatever, whatever those, sometimes they'd get into those 31 or whatever to make a few extra bucks, or they'd work at Starbucks or work at a grocery store so that they could make ends meet. I mean, coming out of college with like making $20,000 or $30,000 is not really a great salary for somebody, right?
Agreed.
So That's what we have. Instead of all of these profits, they're being, we buy up stock and do those stock options. We give out dividends. That helps people with 401ks, people who have money like that, but it's not going to the people who are actually creating the wealth in our country. So, it just, to me, it's really frustrating that we don't understand how good this economy has become. It's only been 4 years, and we still have a whole lot more to do. But we had the American Rescue Plan. We had the bipartisan infrastructure bill, which I actually have a map of Illinois that shows each county and the number of projects that they had and where it was put and what is done. We've invested here. The state of Illinois has invested in what's it called? Rebuild Illinois, I think it was, and they are redoing 57 for the corporations, sure, but a lot of us use that
right.
that Highway 57 going out to 172. So, we've had significant developments. We came back from a really devastating pandemic that damaged our economy, and that's what Trump gave us, because he didn't know how to make deals. He didn't know how to get people to work together.
He doesn't know how to make deals?
No, I don't think. Well, look at what we're left with this economy.
Hold on a second. Hold on. You're saying the guy who wrote The Art of the Deal doesn't know how to make deals.
He didn't write that.
Oh, jeez. The thing that he's best at.
I don't think
deal
he's
making.
very good at all. How is he best at deals?
Hold on. You're saying the guy, the number one
he's
thing
a thief.
Hold on a second. Everybody's got strengths and weaknesses, okay? Mm-hmm. But that is his greatest strength, is deal making, okay? He got a skyscraper built in Dubai. Just hear me out. You cannot do that without incredible deal making skills. I'll tell you this.
But what did he do? What did he do with our economy, though? Maybe he could do that in business because he knows how to manipulate those folks. But in this country, he damaged our economy massively, and he was not able to ever once get. Did he ever get an infrastructure bill going to start talking about it for every week, every week? It's an infrastructure bill. Hold on a second.
He was in power for 4 years. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Biden's been in power for 4 years.
Hold on a second. Mm-hmm. In 2017, the economy was very good. Correct?
It was all right.
Okay. Well, that was Obama's economy. So I hope you thought you thought it was good.
Yeah. Well, he was given trash when he started 8 years before that.
That's what everybody says. That
it was because we had that housing crunch, right?
Democrats always inherit crap, and Republicans always inherit the best thing ever.
Yes,
it's hogwash.
I don't know why you don't get that.
It's hogwash. the economy was very good in 2017.
Yes, it was.
The economy was very good
Obama's
in 2018.
economy.
The economy was very good in 2018. Correct?
I really don't know.
Well,
I really don't know, but I'm telling
that
you,
he crashed the economy. So
yes.
let's go through it.
Sure.
The economy was very good in 17 and 18.
Okay.
The economy was very good in 19.
Okay.
Now we got to get into the fourth year. Mm-hmm. So 3/4 of his presidency was very, very good. In the fourth year, around March 4th, when I was coming back from Seattle, where 12 to 14 elderly died in a nursing home, very famously, due to a coronavirus named COVID-19. Okay. From that point on, through about 2021, somewhere in there, even up until 2022, the economy was in complete shambles. Mm-hmm. Okay. Explain to me. So take away infrastructure bills. Even if you would have passed an infrastructure bill, those
couldn't make a deal.
What I'm saying is, why? So the infrastructure bill, if you would have if you would have done one around the time of COVID, you wouldn't see the effects of that for a couple of years. What did he do? What specifically happened in 2020? Because we've already agreed that 70% of his term.
Well, I mean, I think you're walking down that line. I don't know exactly what that economy was like. My understanding is that the manufacturing economy was crashing.
When?
In 2018, 2019.
No.
Yeah.
ISM numbers were high. No, ISM.
It was going down. It was going down. So this is just
consumer sentiment was going up as leading indicators. ISM the main
Okay,
manufacturing.
sentiment is whatever, but talk about the exact what
all the leading
what was
indicators of
happening.
manufacturing.
What was happening?
COVID.
We were losing
COVID.
No, I mean before the COVID
No.
happened. We were losing manufacturing jobs. It could still be people
To
could
China.
still be all happy. Yes, to China.
To China.
Yeah.
That's Trump's arch enemy. Trump
Yeah.
wants to bring all of them back.
Yeah. Well, why did he waste 3 years then?
Why does
not
Kamala
doing
never
anything?
talk about it?
I don't know.
Because she doesn't know how to talk to China. She's got no dealings with China.
Well, Tim
Let's-
Walsh does.
Tim Walsh, good old coach.
Go, coach.
Oh man. So
Don't you? No, he's
What?
a good Minnesotan. Mind your own damn business.
Is he- I like your accent.
I'm from Minnesota.
You are?
Yes, I am.
So do you like the Vikings?
Yes, but I haven't actually watched them for quite a while because I used to watch them when I lived in Wisconsin.
Who has so my dad.
But my thing is rugby.
Ooh, good for you. Look at you tough cookie.
Yeah.
Like in rugby?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yep. I was the hooker
You were.
on the rugby team. Yep.
Did you say that you were the hooker?
Yes, I was.
I don't know if you want to admit that publicly, but
Really?
no, good for you.
Yeah.
My sister played rugby at Loyola
Oh, did you really?
University.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was a tough. So my sister was homecoming queen at QND.
Oh my gosh.
My sister Gina.
And then she goes to be a rugby player.
Yeah, she my sister Gina was the kind of person where her freshman year they won pom-pom state. So she was a volleyball player, soccer player, student council. My sister
She
Gina
did everything.
She did everything at QND. And then they won state for POMs. They won nationals at POMs, and then she quit.
Oh.
And then everyone said, "Why'd you quit?" She's like, "Because that's like the best that you can do."
That's
like,
the top. I
like,
get
like
her.
I'm going out at the top.
I get it.
And then she was like homecoming queen senior year
Yeah.
in high school, and then went to go play rugby and had like cleat marks on her face and bloody, and she was sending us pictures. She was just getting stepped on.
Yeah.
Rugby's a tough sport.
It is.
If you played rugby, do you know what that means?
What?
You're tough.
Yeah.
And you're
Not anymore. I'm old.
you're still tough.
I'm Medicare old, apparently, according to you.
No, I cannot believe I asked you that. I'm surprised you didn't kick me under the table. So Trump has this like amazing, in my mind, a lot of people that you're probably not going to like, but they're strong entrepreneurs, very strong businessmen, very strong women. Trump likes to surround himself with. He doesn't care that Vivek isn't white. He doesn't care that Tulsi isn't white. He doesn't care. He only cares that they're strong, like Tulsi Gabbard. She's a she's a Democrat.
Oh no, she wasn't ever a Democrat.
No,
she
no,
ran as Democrat.
hold on a second.
because she said in
So,
in
are you saying
Hawaii
she's a dino?
Well, I would never say that necessarily.
So
but
hold-
you know, she
Why would you
ran
say
as
she's
a
not? Hold on.
because she
Why would you
said-
say she's not a Democrat when she was a Democrat
Because she
Congresswoman
said
of Hawaii?
that she only ran as a Democrat, so she lied. She only ran as a Democrat so that because in Hawaii you couldn't win. It's kind of like living in Quincy, you know. But except for the flip ways, she could never win as a Republican because the ideas wouldn't carry. But instead, she runs as a Democrat, and then she does whatever she wants once she gets in.
Okay,
so
but-
I think that is.
But she
I
believed
think
in
it's
all
a
the.
dishonest.
But she believed in all the
I don't think she
Democratic
did.
principles. I mean,
I don't
she
know.
was.
I don't know.
She supported Bernie. She wanted single payer. I mean, Tulsi wanted all of that.
Does
all
she
of
doesn't
that.
anymore?
Well, because she knows that it's not going to work in this country. So she flipped and went to.
Yeah.
And she flipped red. Real quick.
I think there's a bit of dishonesty in that, but
So
okay.
here, listen, I like you a lot, but when you say that Kamala doesn't lie, I have a huge problem with that. Politicians lie.
Well,
Kate.
okay, so all the time people won't say Trump is a liar, and they say because it has to be intentional, and you don't know what's in somebody's mind. You know, so they won't ever use that frame. They say, "Oh, well, the statement was false," or blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I'm not. I think she is basically an honest person, and I don't think she comes out here and says whatever. I mean, I don't think she's a liar, but I do think Trump is. I really do, and that's where everything that I've observed about him. He says things, he does other things. He told RFK Jr. apparently that he was going to be the head of the health department, right? Do all the agriculture and do all that. Well, there's an article in the paper where he's basically saying, "Oh no, I'm not doing that." The campaign saying it's a little too early to make. I didn't make that promise. Nobody's made any promises. So here you go. You've got RFK stumping for him all over the place, and he's saying, "I'm going to be in charge of the health." I don't know what it was exactly, health and agriculture, because he. His platform is to get rid of, I don't know.
He's Green MAGA.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's an environmental lawyer.
Yeah.
Bobby.
Yeah.
I'm like how I call him Bobby. Like I mean he's a.
Was he ever Bobby? Doesn't he go? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, he's Bobby Jr.
Okay.
Yeah, RFK Jr. Yeah, he's Bobby. Man,
But I mean, look, I'm
tell
not going to
him
sit
there's
there.
no
I don't
deep
know
state.
her. I don't know her personally. Right? I mean,
well, I can tell you one lie, and you're going to say that she didn't lie.
okay.
But
Then why are we going into this? No, just kidding.
well, because I'm going to say, listen, if you ask me, does Trump lie? Ask me if Trump lies.
Does Trump lie?
Yeah, of course.
You act like it's not a big deal.
No, I'm saying it is a big deal. They shouldn't lie.
Right.
They all lie. Now, one thing that I like about our local politicians, okay, I know a lot of them personally. When they elevate and go up to the state, we've got like a Kyle Moore, hopefully wins, and gets to.
He doesn't have anybody opposing him, does he?
Well, then he better win, because that would be really embarrassing if he didn't. If he's got no one opposing him. So when he wins, then he's moving up to the state level. He's got to be real careful, because I mean, like a guy like him, I have not seen Kyle Moore lie, but he is going to get pushed when he gets up to the state level. He's going to be very tempted to lie, and if he ever becomes a U.S. senator and moves into the Fed system, and moves into like higher up nationally, he's going to have more. He's going to have people pulling on him. He's going to have demons pulling on him. He's going to have people trying to get him to like do what he wants, to do their bidding. And we have to hope and pray that he never lies. But because what happens is if
I thought you said everybody lies. So he lies.
What I'm saying is this. I'm saying that all of those national politicians.
Oh, but not our local ones?
No, no, I'm not saying that they don't. I'm saying I think like locally, locally, I'm sure you think that some of our local people lie. I'm sure they do. What I'm saying is the higher up you go politically, you start to trade pieces of your soul if you want to
But
move
you don't think that
all the way
happens
up.
here, though? You don't think that happens here? I mean, come on.
What I'm saying is, let's assume it does happen here. As you move up the ladder, it happens more and more and more and more and more and more. To get to president of the United States, you have to lie your ass off. You do.
I don't, but I think that it happens in every day, every place.
Do you think all the Democrats tell the truth and all the Republicans lie? Is this what you're telling me? I think that's what you're telling me.
No, but I think it's too black and white to say, they're lying, they're not lying. You know what I mean? And I don't really. I think it depends upon what you're talking about. I think it really depends on what you're talking about, and I think it's best to take people piece by piece. But
I agree with
there
that.
are certain people that, like when we talk about Trump, I do not believe anything he says. He makes contracts with people and then he doesn't pay them, because he doesn't want to. And they end up settling with them because, this has happened to plumber. People have worked for him in these construction things that he's done, and he never pays full price, right? He never pays what he agrees to. So you can't trust. That's what you have to be able to do, is to trust certain people and trust that they're going to carry through or follow through with the things that they've said that they're going to do. So I would say I trust that Kamala Harris is going to do the things, or she's at least going to try to negotiate and do these things that she has been trying to put forward. She may not get everything she wants in her laundry list of things that she wants in her to-do list. She may not get everything, but I think she will work for them, and I think she will honestly work for them. And I believe that, too, of Tim Walz as well, because I've seen him work in Minnesota. My sister, my family just loves him up there, and they love the things that he's done up there. And that Minnesota has had excessive, they've had, budget surpluses. And they've, been able to do a lot of different things. My little brother has mental health issues up there, and he is doing fairly well because he's being taken care of. But, it's touch and go, but,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Well,
but
Minnesota's going to go blue.
I'm pretty sure they will, yeah.
Oh.
It's kind of like Illinois is going to go blue.
Illinois
Somebody
will
told
go
me
blue.
that they thought Adams County was going to vote for Harris. And I was like,
Adams County?
Yeah, I was like, oh, I wouldn't go that far. But I think she's going to do very well. There are a lot of people that, I mean, people are coming out of the woodwork that I have been surprised. Of course, 2020 was when I was chair, and that also, I was surprised, but it was also, there was a pandemic, right? And it was very difficult, and I had a lot of people working with me, but this time I am just amazed. And there are a lot of people coming in saying, I will never vote for that man. A lot of people that have come into the office, and we have conversations. Of course, that's all anecdotal, right?
Yeah.
And so, but it's different than what I've seen in the past. And I've talked to people like the Sangamon County chair and other county chairs, and they've said, it's crazy how much people want buttons and signs and bumper stickers and things like that.
Yeah.
And there's also crazy that people are afraid to put signs out and bumper stickers. So half of what you see are people are very afraid to do that.
I agree. I remember when people used to be very afraid to publicly give support for Trump. I remember in 2016, people were super afraid to do that. Oh,
no.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. People were very afraid to do that. Now, way less so.
Now they should be embarrassed.
Well, I mean, he's already been president for 4 years, so you know
that was an embarrassment, but okay.
You know what you get. Listen, COVID. Listen. If you make a virus in a lab in China and you spread it all over the place.
Oh, not this again.
Well, we can get it to we can get
I know
into how
you
COVID was
referred
made.
to Jon Stewart, and I was like, you know what, whatever. I don't know.
I started with Jon Stewart, the comedic Democrat.
Yes.
I'm with him.
Yes.
Hey, thank you so much for coming on.
Yes,
Look at where we're at. We
went over. Sorry.
No. Isn't that amazing?
Yes, it's amazing.
Isn't that amazing how fast we do that?
Okay.
Aspen. Let's see. Like the how many? Let's see. It's got.
Did she keep track?
Frank has how many, and Kate has how many? Anyway, it's a tie.
I at least had one. Yeah, it's a tie.
Hey, Kate Daniels.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Bye.
Anytime.